So today we will be discussing the triangle, and we will take a look at the symbolism of upward triangle, so triangle pointing up, and downward triangle, triangle pointing down. And as usually, we go straight to the images, and then I will come back with a few stories and tips of how we can work with triangles. If you think about it, you could actually divide most of the other geometries into triangles. You could divide the rhombus and mandorla into 2 triangles. The square can be divided into 4 triangles, the pentagon into 5 triangles, hexagon into 6, and so forth. Even the triangle itself can be divided into smaller triangles. A triangle made of 9 smaller triangles, called tetractys, was a symbol venerated by the ancient Greek Pythagoreans, who called it the divine number and the root and source of eternally flowing creation, or nature's eternal fountain and supply, and the parent of all souls that supposedly generated gods and men. So it was a really profound symbol for them. The triangle makes an important visual allegory in many philosophies and religions. It's the divine trinity of the Holy Father, Son, Spirit, or the Holy Mother, Daughter, Spirit, or the trinity of the Father, Mother, and Child. In this dualistic world, the triangle pointing upward represents the masculine aspect of creation, while the triangle pointing downward stands for the feminine aspect. On a deeper level, we could say the upward triangle symbolizes the active principle of nature and the conscious mind, while the downward triangle points to the passive energy of nature and the subconscious mind. In a living being, these 2 principles should be in balance and create harmony. It's the yin and yang, the animus anima, the sacred marriage, basically. This sacred marriage, or the coalescence of these 2 principles, is symbolized by the unity of both these triangles in their centers, which results in the hexagram, also known as the Star of David or the Indian Shaktona. The Shaktona not only stands for the harmony between the god and goddess archetype, but is also a visual representation of the heart chakra, which is sometimes called the seat of the soul. Other symbols that combine 2 equilateral triangles are the diamond or rhombus shape, the rune dagas or the sand clock symbol. The rune dagas mainly stands for the harmony of 2 polarities, especially light and dark sides. In alchemy and astrology, triangles are used as the symbols of the basic elements. Here we can see that the triangle pointing downward puts our attention to the ground, so it's connected to the earth element and the water element, while the triangle pointing upward puts our attention to the sky, so it represents the fire and the air elements. And together they become the hexagram. Also, all the Platonic solids consist of triangles. And Plato actually wrote about this connection, and he said that the Platonic solids are not only made of, but also united by the triangle. And as for my personal experiences with the triangles, I would like to start with a story that kind of illustrates how sometimes we may be bothered by certain geometries or symbols, and that it means something. It might be important, and this might be a message to us about some issues that maybe weren't addressed or something we're dealing with currently in our life. So when I was younger, I was really bothered by the upward triangle. As much as I like it now and appreciate it and its symbolism, I just didn't like it. I didn't like it visually. I avoided it. And now I kind of realized why, because as I mentioned earlier, the upward triangle is connected to the conscious mind. So it's connected to the rational mind and this idea of studying or like working with the conscious mind. And I was just not a good student. When I was younger at elementary school, I was so much in my inner world. Like I tend to just like not listen during classes. I would just disappear into my own world. So I was more like the downward triangle. I was more in my subconscious mind, always like thinking about even when the teacher spoke, I just had to like focus on how the environment makes me feel, how the teacher makes me feel, how the classmates make me feel, and I would just like not be able to, listen to what she was actually talking about. So the upward triangle was, or the conscious mind, was somehow like not functioning as well, I would say, as the subconscious mind or the downward triangle. I was also very creative and very always like drawing or writing stories, poems. I was always disappearing into this like fantasy world or my creativity. And like the idea of only like turning on the rational part of my mind and only focus on studying and these things, it was just somehow I had to learn this. But actually then when I went to high school and I started to study what I loved, so I studied art and history and all these subjects that I could like really enjoy and delve into, then I started to like the upward triangle. So it's interesting like how I kind of got over it. And then I started to study more, and I became like this bookworm and overall like a good student. So it's interesting how, it can affect us that certain geometries may bother us at certain times in our lives and then not at all. And it might show something to us on a deeper level. So, for example, for people that are not very grounded, they might be bothered by the square symbol or cube, because they are very grounding symbols, very grounding geometries. And people that are maybe not spiritual, or they don't like to think about the spiritual things, might be bothered by like more spiritually charged geometries. So, for example, the pentagram or the hexagram or double tetrahedron and these kind of shapes. So it's really interesting how, and I wanted to mention this, that the geometries or symbols that bother us might be just as important as those that we are attracted to. And so after I made my peace, let's say, with the upward triangle, I started to incorporate it in my meditations, and I noticed that it actually helps turn on that analytical, rational mind. So when I need to boost my ideas, or also the creative aspect of creation, of bringing something into creation, not just dreaming about it, as is the case with the downward triangle. I just found it very useful to gaze at it, meditating with it, or incorporate it in bind runes and different kinds of symbols that I draw or make for myself for these intentions. And I find it actually most powerful when we combine the triangles, the upward and downward triangle. So the combination of them is the six-pointed star that is made of two equilateral triangles that has also been called the Star of David, or in India Shaktona, and it represents the heart chakra, and it's symbolically the coalescence of the god and goddess archetype that we all have within us. So it's like the sacred marriage in the alchemical terms. And then the rhombus. The rhombus is made of also like upward and downward triangle, and it's also connected to the mandorla symbolism, as I brushed over in the mandorla or Vesica Pisces video, and then also the sand clock or hourglass symbol, which is also made of upward and downward triangles. But these three symbols that I mentioned, they all like combine the symbolism of the downward and upward triangle. So the conscious, subconscious mind, the god and the goddess within us, the divine masculine and feminine energies of this dualistic world that we all have in us, and this like yin and yang, or animus anima. And when they're in harmony, then we are complete. And so these symbols that combine these two triangles, I find them really powerful, because then it merges like all these important aspects of these two triangles. And also another beautiful example is the 333 or triple triangle symbol, which is the 9-pointed star, and which combines 3 triangles. And that one is also really, really special because it triples, so it like makes the triangle symbolism even stronger. And there's so much more to explore and discuss about the triangle. I have much more information in my book, so if you're interested, please check it out. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, because that really supports me in creating more content.